Yurei stood still, her ears ringing with a shrill tone. Who was speaking? Who was calling her? The sound grew louder until it swallowed every thought, then vanished. Out of the silence, a voice reached her, clear as water in a still pond, gentle yet unyielding. You are coming with me, Yurei. She raised her head. Her teachers stared at her with grave disapproval, waiting for her to acknowledge the figure before her. The figure wore robes of deep viridian, bound with a golden sash wound around in patient, precise layers. Over the robes rested armor, inscribed with scenes from a history she did not know. At its center rose a jade tower, lines radiating outward like a flowing current. A crane-shaped helm covered the face. When the voice came again, Yurei felt it echo through her bones. I am the Jade Crane of the tower. You are coming with me. The words allowed no refusal. Yurei rose unsteadily, her face still bleeding from the Boe no Kotaba. The stinging spirals, carved by its syllables, throbbed with every heartbeat. Without looking back at her mentors, she followed the crane toward the monastery gates. In the courtyard, a palanquin waited, black lacquered wood bound with brass, its frame polished to a dark gleam. Masked bearers stooped beneath the poles. Their wiry bodies looked twisted but steady, like gnarled roots refusing to break. 10 warriors in plain green armor stood guard, silent and motionless, their helms lowered. The crane boarded. Yurei hesitated, thinking she would walk until a hand gestured her inside. She climbed into the canopy. The crane sat across from her and an old woman. Her hair was a storm of white and gray, her skin rough and lined like worn leather. Scars crossed her face and arms, old and deep, as if carved by a cruel blade. When Yurei looked too long, she swore the scars shifted, as if breathing. She bowed her head and sat opposite them. The palanquin lifted, the poles creaking underneath, and the slow, swaying journey began. For a long time, there was silence, broken only by the rhythmic footfalls of their bearers. At last, Yurei spoke, her voice hoarse from her trial. How far is the journey? We will arrive at the tower in 1 week, the crane replied, his voice filling the confined space. Yurei nodded, staring at the mountains gently sliding past. She thought that was all, until he spoke again. I have brought along your new mentor. This is Ko, speaker of the tower. Yurei bowed to the old woman. Ko's dark pupils met her gaze with a cutting weight. Your group in the monastery was weak, girl. Her voice was as old and gnarled as her features. Yurei stared, stunned. They could not even master the grammar that would shield them. Their deaths are the price of their indiscipline. Ko turned back to the passing landscape. Yurei said nothing. Tears welled and burned as they cut down her raw cheeks. The days passed in a haze of swaying motion and muttered instruction. Yurei learned what awaited her, training at the Jade Tower as a speaker. Others too were being gathered from across Ikaiguchi, others with the same scars, others who had survived. Part 2. They descended from the mountain monastery and traveled deeper into the country. At first they passed farmland, rice paddies glinting with water, village gates hung with the purple banners of the mighty House Hatsuki. Then even these fell behind. The road turned to forest paths, and within a day, vast trees had closed over them, their trunks thicker than anything Yurei had ever seen, their crowns blotting out the sky. The air grew heavy and wet. Are we in a Yasai forest? Yurei asked, unease in her voice. Ko's eyes narrowed. Afraid of the forest folk? Yurei nodded slightly. Then you are wiser than I first thought. But they will not trouble us. The Yasai know this path, and know better than to cross it. Only the fools who stray from the trodden ways vanish into their hands. Yurei's shoulders eased. Her parents had frightened her with tales of the Yasai before their deaths. Curiosity turned her thoughts. What of the tower? Scholars call it legend, Ko said. They said it marked the end of the Second Age. Few know it still stands, and fewer still could find it. So it is hidden, even from the Yasai? Yes. Guarding its secrecy is part of what we train for. Secrecy above all, Yurei. Yurei nodded, realizing this order lived in shadow. Does the tower serve the Emperor? No, said the crane. The word carried a finality that silenced her. As the days dragged, heat pressed down on them, sweat soaking through Yurei's robes. Insects whined in her ears. And then, during the travel, one of the bearers collapsed, throwing the palanquin askew. Looking to the crane, Ko stepped down and gestured for Yurei to follow. The bearer lay in the dirt, skin glistening, bitten raw by the insects of the forest. His breath rasped like a dying dog, and Ko knelt and placed her hand to his temple. Her speech deepened, twisting into something ancient. Her scars began to bleed as she chanted. From her lips poured a thick black shadow. It slid down the length of her arm and into the man's hood. The bearer convulsed, his body spasmed. A scream tearing from him as if something had burrowed beneath his skin. And then, just like that, it ended. Silence hung heavy. The bearer rose, steady, stronger than before, and returned to his place without a word. Ko climbed back inside. Yurei followed, shaken. What was that? Yurei asked. You will know in time, Ko said. For the first time, she noticed pride in the old mentor's voice. Last days of travel brought them to a towering wall of mountain, its cliffs gripped by trees with trunks like castles' towers. The convoy halted. The crane stepped down and Ko beckoned Yurei to follow. The air here was ancient and heavy. Moss hung in veils from roots. The ground smelled of wet stone and iron. She saw the monastery gates closing behind her, shutting out the world. The faces of other students, some proud, some broken, and the look in their eyes as one by one they were taken away, never to return. She saw every strike of the rod, every night of cold hunger. Every lesson that promised strength but delivered only more scars. She stumbled forward, tears running hot down her cheeks, mingling with the blood. Her breath came ragged, her throat raw with the scream she would not give voice to. Somewhere, far away, she could feel the crane's presence, steady as the stone around her, but it offered no comfort. This was hers to endure, her past, her shame, her pain, all dragged into the light by the sound of Ko's song. It stripped her bare, after nothing but a trembling thing of flesh and memory. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, the voices stopped. The pressure vanished. The silence was so complete, it roared in her ears. When the great gate ahead opened and light poured through, Yurei stumbled toward it, her face wet, her heart hollowed out, as though something had been taken from her, or perhaps laid bare forever. She wept in that light, tears mingling with blood. Ko yanked her to her feet, no warmth, no care, only a blank stare. Beyond, the caldera opened. At its center, like a frozen drop of water, stood the tower. Smooth, alien stone rippled outward in perfect patterns. Silence hung heavy. No birds, no insects, only wind. Ko's bloodied eyes met hers. Sufficient work, girl. I half expected you to fail the Shadow Pass. You wouldn't have been the first. Yurai's chest heaved. Cold praise, but she accepted it all the same. Whatever waited inside, she would endure it. That much she promised herself. They descended the winding path toward the tower. It loomed taller with every step, rising higher than any palace spire she had seen or even heard of. At its base, a dark opening waited, a stairway leading into shadow, carved cleanly out of the stone monolith. More of those masked attendants, along with another contingent of Jade Crane, bowed as the crane and a speaker returned to their home. Inside, the air smelled of stifling incense, candles, and other ointments. But underlying it all was a light, damp musk that one would only find in a large cavern. Candles and oil lamps flickered on the walls, the only light in the dark halls. As her eyes adjusted to the dark, she saw inside the structure were these glassy, smooth stone walls arching far above her head, inscribed with the flowing patterns so similar to those that marked her skin. As Yurei took in the space, gawking at the otherworldly structure, the crane spoke, refocusing her attention to the present. I have reports and other matters to attend to. Speaker Ko will bring you to the Speaker's Hall. And with that, he turned to a circular doorway which rolled away, similar to the large gates of the Shadow Pass. Come, girl, Ko said, already walking towards another doorway. It's a long climb up. She did not lie. The journey up the height of the tower was exhausting. Yurei's legs were burning by the time they arrived at the passage to the Speaker's Hall. You'll get used to it, Ko chuckled to herself as she pressed her palm into the door, humming briefly before the stone shifted aside. Still breathing heavy, Yurei followed. As they passed through the passageway, they entered a large open space, and to Yurei's shock, it was open to the sky. A hollow at the top of the tower opened up here, and a pool of water filled the center of this wide chamber. Around this open-air chamber were rows and rows of balconies, many with alcoves carved out of the space. Welcome to the Speaker's Hall, Yurei, said Ko, who was now glancing towards the young woman, who seemed to be catching her breath in the more open air of this chamber. It's a benefit. Yurei turned to her, not catching on. Yeah. It's a benefit we speakers get to have here at the tower. We need it so that when practicing we do not create an echo chamber. That could have very lethal consequences, as you'd imagine, Ko said wryly. Indeed, Yurei said in agreement, remembering her classmates at the monastery, whom did not use the Boe no Kataba correctly. I will show you where you shall be staying. Come. Ko led her to one of the stone alcoves. However, these had wooden doors, not the stone seen elsewhere so far. Most likely because each student, such as herself, would not know the tones used to open these locks. Inside the chamber, it was Spartan. A straw tatami mat and a futon. Functional space, nothing more. These are your quarters. Food and water will be brought by the attendants. The other initiates will be arriving in the coming days. We are first. Until then, your training begins now. How many other speakers are here, in the tower? Yurei asked softly, awed by the immensity of the space. 49, Ko replied. But many are old. We need new blood. Oh, I don't see them here. Enough, girl. Ko's voice cracked like a whip. You will obey. He will not question me during training. Over the next days, Ko began Yurei's instruction in earnest. The exercises were brutal. Deep vocalizations that clawed at her throat, precision chants that tore at her scars. The blood from her scars mingled with the blood on her lips, dripping to the stone. Yet in those same moments, she felt the power in her words, the language she was learning. It was thrilling. On the third morning, more initiates had arrived. As if to answer a question to Ko, they were followed by speakers who must have been sent out to claim the initiates. They filed into the speakers' hall under silent guard. 2 of these initiates stood out to Yurei. One was Daichi, a broad-shouldered boy from the coast, his skin pale from sea winds, his voice already carrying a deep, thunderous resonance. His calm eyes hid a nervous energy, as if he feared breaking something with every breath. The other was Akane, a thin girl with hair like spilled ink, her body covered in faint spiral scars that glimmered faintly under the hall's light. She spoke rarely, but when she did, her voice cut like a blade. They joined Yurei at their stations, each assigned to a different section of the hall. Their voices, untrained, ricocheted against the walls, producing strange harmonics. Outside these training sessions, the tower at large remained a mystery. Many doors were barred with seals, staircases ended abruptly in blank walls, and entire wings were hidden away behind tapestries or carvings that seemed more than decorative. Even Ko would not speak of them. At night, Yurei sometimes thought she heard voices singing far below her chamber, deep and mournful. The tower, and whatever it held, kept its secrets close.